The Pixel 9 Pro models have just been unveiled, and it looks like Google is really focused on competing with Apple and the iPhone this year. You now have two Pro phones with two different size options, similar to what Apple does with their Pro phones. So let's put these head to head and see how these two phones match up, at least on paper, and find out which smartphone is the champ of Pro phones. We're going to compare the iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max to the all-new Pixel 9 Pro and Pro XL in 5 different categories. Select the winner for each round, and in the end, crown the winner of the Pro flagship. Let's start with round 1. Performance. The Pixel 9 Pro and Pro XL get the all-new Google Tensor G4 chip with an updated 16 gigabytes of RAM, which is definitely an upgrade from the Tensor G3 chip from last year's Google Pixel, but how much of an upgrade is the real question. The Google Tensor G4 has an 8-core CPU, which is one less than the previous G3, but the upgrade comes from the larger core themselves, which should, in theory, provide better performance. Don't expect huge differences when it comes to benchmarks here, but day-to-day use should be solid, just like the previous Google Pixel 8. These phones should be able to handle anything you throw at it. Now, when it comes to battery life though, you are getting the same size battery capacity in the Pixel 9 Pro XL, at least compared to last year's Pixel 8 Pro, and an even smaller battery with the Pixel 9 Pro, because now that is considered the smaller Pro phone, if that makes sense. Google says that you can get 24 hours plus from these phones, similar to last year's. What that actually means, not really sure. It should just get you through a full day, pretty much. Now with the iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max, it's not really a fair fight. The A17 Pro chip inside the iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max is still the best performing chipset in any smartphone. Yes, the iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max have less RAM, smaller batteries, but the chipset itself, along with the amazing software implementation, means that this phone is just a beast. Nothing can really compare to the iPhone when it comes to performance. Now, when it comes to real life day-to-day use, you're not gonna notice a huge difference between these two phones. They're gonna both perform solid, but where you will notice a difference is when it comes to intense tasks. The iPhone is gonna really shine, and because of that, it takes round 1. Round 2 is camera. Smartphone cameras are at a point where they're so good now that really choosing a smartphone you prefer is more subjective. You may prefer the Pixel's photos and video over something like the iPhone, and vice versa. So for this round, I'm going to give you my preference when it comes to the cameras on each of these smartphones, but I'll also take a look at the camera hardware and also the features that come with these camera systems to let you know which one is better in my opinion. The Pixel 9 Pro and Pro XL have a 50 megapixel wide angle camera, a 48 megapixel ultra wide with macro focus, and a 48 megapixel 5x telephoto lens. You have a super res zoom up to 30x, and you have an optical quality at 0.5x, 1x, 2x, 5x, and 10x. You have some amazing hardware and amazing computational photography that usually comes with every Pixel. Now for the iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max, you have some hardware that isn't as great or as good, at least on paper, compared to the Pixel phone. The iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max come with a 48 megapixel main wide angle camera, a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera sensor, and a 12 megapixel telephoto lens. You also have a 5x optical zoom in, a 2x optical zoom out, 10x optical zoom range, and a digital zoom up to 25x for the iPhone 15 Pro Max. The iPhone 15 Pro has a slightly different zoom capability. It has a 3x optical zoom in, a 2x optical zoom out, a 6x optical zoom range, and a digital zoom up to 15x. A lot of numbers here, and just looking at the hardware, like I mentioned before, you would honestly think the Pixel definitely takes it. But hardware doesn't tell the whole story, and really it depends on software, on computational photography. Both of these phones will do an amazing job when it comes to camera. Google has always been known for excellent shots. Video has sort of been lackluster in the previous years, but it looks like the Pixel 9 Pro and Pro XL will kind of improve some of the video capabilities from, at least compared to last year's Pixel 8 Pro. And of course, the iPhone is the king of video. Now, for me personally, I just prefer the shots that come from a Pixel phone. But when it comes to video, iPhone 15 Pro Max is definitely the best phone for taking video. We'll have to see what the Pixel 9 Pro and Pro XL does this year with its improvements in video. But really, when it comes down to features, that's where the Pixel really shines. Google loads the Pixel with so many useful camera features like Magic Eraser, Photo on Blur, Best Take, and even a new feature called Add Me, which allows you to kind of stitch two photos together. And by doing so, you can add someone to a photo that weren't originally in that photo. It sounds kind of crazy. It looks really crazy when you see it in use, and hopefully it's as great as it sounds. But there's a lot of features that just come built in with the Pixel phone to help you take advantage or get the most out of your camera experience. The iPhone promises to have some of these features in the future with Apple Intelligence, but as of right now, the Pixel does have it, and the iPhone is waiting to have it. So because of those features already built into the Pixel phone, and really the Pixel 9 Pro and Pro XL having excellent camera hardware and the track record that comes from a Pixel, I'm gonna choose the Pixel 9 Pro for this round. Round 3 is display. Google really impressed me this year with the display improvements on the Pixel 9 Pro and Pro XL. The regular 9 Pro is a 6.3-inch display, which is larger than the iPhone 15 Pro's 6.1-inch display. And the XL is a 6-inch display, which is also larger than the iPhone 15 Pro Max's 6.7-inch display. Resolution-wise, the Pixel also wins as well with a slightly higher pixel per inch when compared to the iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max. And if that wasn't enough, Google drastically boosted the brightness of these displays. You now have 2000 nits for HDR content and up to 3000 nits peak brightness on the Pixel 9 Pro and Pro XL, compared to the iPhone, which is still really great at 1600 nits HDR content and 2000 nits peak brightness. But man, Google really took the Pixel phones to the next level with these bright displays. Of course, the 15 Pro and Pro Max's speakers really make the viewing experience on an iPhone even better, but I'm assuming that the Pixel 9 Pro will also have really good speakers, just like the previous 8 Pro did, so I don't think that's a huge difference there. Just looking at what's on paper, the specs of these displays, for me, there is no doubt that the Pixel 9 Pro takes this round. So after 3 rounds, we can see that the Pixel 9 Pro is in the lead 2-1, but let's see if the iPhone 15 Pro can catch up in the next 2 rounds. The next round is design. The Pixel and iPhone have never looked more similar than they do right now. They both have a flat edge design made of metal and glass. You can see how Google made quite a few changes on the back of the Pixel phone to make it more of a flatter look, more of an iPhone look, I will admit, which isn't a bad thing. I really do like the design of the iPhone, and Google kind of is putting their own spin on it, but it does look kind of similar. The camera bump is where it really stands out. The Pixel 9 Pro has a new design to its camera bump on the back that looks flatter and no longer extends to the frame like the previous Pixel phones. And I actually do really like how it looks, and I prefer the design that Google is going with here. The iPhone's camera bump is really the same as previous years. It's just getting larger and larger. So I would say I prefer the design of the Pixel 9 Pro slightly more, but what really makes the Pixel 15 Pro special is the build material. It's now made with titanium, which makes the phone lighter, more durable, and just stronger overall. The Pixel still has aluminum, which doesn't really stack up as well against titanium. So while I do prefer slightly the design of the Pixel 9 Pro, design also has to do with build materials, and the iPhone clearly has the better build materials, and because of that, it takes this round. The final round is value. Both of these phones have the same starting prices that give you 128 gigabytes, except for the iPhone 15 Pro Max, which starts at $1,200, but that gives you 256 gigabytes. Apple pretty much forces you to get the higher storage option for the Pro Max instead of offering the lower storage option for $100 less. So Google kind of gets credit for offering at least one more option here. For that expensive price tag, you are getting a lot of features with both of these phones. The Pixel 9 Pro has face unlock and a fingerprint sensor, while the iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max only have Face ID, which is quicker and more reliable than other face unlocks. You also get Dynamic Island and an action button on the iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max, while the Pixel gets wireless battery share and faster wireless and wired charging. I could honestly go through a long list of all these features that each phone has and which one doesn't have one certain feature that the other one does. But to be fair, both of these phones offer a lot of flagship features. You shouldn't really feel like you're missing something important on either of these phones unless a certain feature is very important to you. And I think when it comes to features, whatever you value more is gonna kind of tip the scales for you. For me, what really separates these phones though are trade-in deals and price cuts. The iPhone doesn't really have great trade-in deals. Apple just doesn't give you as much as Google does when it comes to deals to upgrade to a Pixel. Also, Google has the Pixels on sale all the time, so you can always find a great deal on the Pixel 9 Pro or Pro XL maybe in a couple of months or so. So value-wise, the Pixel should definitely give you a better value simply because you could probably find a Pixel 9 Pro or Pro XL for a cheaper price, or even get a better value by trading in another phone to upgrade to this phone. iPhones are expensive and they aren't really known for providing the best value. And because of that, the Pixel 9 Pro takes round 5. So after 5 rounds, the Pixel 9 Pro and Pro XL win 3-2 and take the crown of king of smartphones, at least for now. Now keep in mind that can change really quickly once I get my hands on the Pixel 9 Pro and I'm able to test it out and really see what it's made of. Apple is also set to announce another iPhone next month. So yes, the Pixel may have won, but it was going head to head against an almost 1-year-old smartphone, which in tech, 1 year can really change things. We'll have to see what happens when Apple releases the iPhone 16 Pro and Pro Max, but what do you guys think? Do you agree with my winner of this head-to-head matchup between the Pixel 9 Pro and the iPhone 15 Pro? Let me know with a comment down below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos just like this one on tech news, reviews, and opinions, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our new videos, and I'll see you on the next one.